everybody, we're back. Welcome to Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host Anne, and disembodied hands Justin and Quindy, and really whoever else wants to show up. Hey guys, how's it going? Yeah, I know, right? Oh, I'm just happy to be here. I've had an insane 2 weeks. I never want to do 2 weeks away, almost 2 weeks away from home again. I never want to do that. I mean, it was great to see puppies and get slobbered on by dogs again. Hello, McClyman. Nice to see you too. Yes, the Kiri face. I know that for those of you on my Patreon, the puppy picture that I posted in the cute animals thread is a Kiri great-great-granddaughter. And I totally would have stolen her if she had been a smooth coat. Hey AJ. Yeah, I know, right? I don't get to see you. Hold on, let's switch over. Let's get our groove on. Yeah, she was pretty. I seriously, the thing that was awesome about her was her temperament. So for those who don't know, Shiloh Shepherds is the breed I'm involved in, and we do puppy temperament testing at 8 weeks to kind of see what their aptitudes are and how their personalities are, and then we suit them. We place them with the appropriate family. So you don't just sign up to get a Shiloh and get to pick your puppy. We actually do the temperament assessment and tell you which puppies are most suited for your family. And she had the thing where she just retrieved the little ball again and again and again because she just wanted to be with the person and make the person happy. I love that temperament. Yeah, that's my favorite temperament. Retrieve drive is rare in Shilohs. True retrieve drive is. But that people focused, I want to do whatever makes you happy, and so I'm going to try to figure out what that is. That kind of thing in an 8-week-old puppy is so awesome. Yeah, we do. We have foster homes as well, for puppies that one of our breeders actually sets it up for puppies that she thinks she would like to breed, but she doesn't have an immediate breeding home for them. So she does a foster placement program until she can find a permanent home for those dogs. But yeah, we very seldom get any rescues or rehomes, and I really believe it's because of our puppy placement policy. We're trying very hard to place the right puppy with the right family. And so the oops of a family or a person getting a puppy that's way too high energy for them or things like that, we avoid that. Because you can assess that at 8 weeks for sure. I need to unclog my cyan blue. Oh, wow. It's determinedly clogged. There we go. Yeah, working with cyan today. Oh, Twisted Oma, thank you for the resub. 25 months. Yeah, exactly, Snapdad. Yeah, it's something that our breed founder started, and we just continued when she passed away, and we made our own organization. So as I am a temperament tester, I'm certified with our org, and I feel like it really matters. It's really cool. All right, let me see here. Where's my Nightmare Black? There's just a little bit of Nightmare Black in this blue that we're using. We're going to finish her hand today. I'm going to touch up some of this other parts, going to see where else I might need some blue highlights, and we're going to work on the back of her cap and try to get that knocked out. She's actually very close to done, the Fungal Queen is. Hey, Koof, thanks for the resub. 22 months. Hey, Nemedzik. Yeah, and you can, right, AJ? You can totally see at 8 weeks, you can get a very good idea of the kind of personality you're dealing with the puppy. We actually take it a step farther. We test them in a place that is strange to them, and the tester who's interacting with them is also a stranger. So we get the breeder to tell us how the puppy is in its comfort zone at home with its pack that it's used to, and we also get a view of the puppy in a strange situation, like going to the vet or something like that. Something where the puppy is definitely uncomfortable or not sure, right? Because you want both. You want to see how the personality reacts with both. So we do both. But yeah, it's a really cool program. I mean, there's a reason I've been part of this breed for over 10 years now. Alrighty. And when Kiri passed, I looked at getting a different breed of puppy because I kind of had that, maybe I really just want a puppy. Yeah, everybody, it's just so frustrating to try to find a good breeder or anything. All right, so we got our blue mixed up, nice and dark. This is about 4 drops of cyan. blue, which is one of my favorite blues. It's a nice vibrant blue. It's a little bit on the green side, just a tiny bit though. And it has actually really good coverage, and its number is 9117. So if you haven't played around with cyan blue, you should. Yay. And then we're going to mix that with some white to take it up. I am trying to, like, my shoulder's a little wonky still from handling large dogs over the weekend, and also because the ocean murdered me in Hawaii. Well, it didn't murder me, it maimed me. But so if you see me doing a lot of like this, it's because I'm trying to adjust into a comfortable position. It's better today than it was yesterday, so you'll just have to baby it for a while. I'm sure you all have those moments where you're like, you know, having hand pain, wrist pain, shoulder pain, back pain, and it's hard to paint. So, especially as we get older, but of course even younger people can have like neck pain, back pain these days. So much of us, like, we walk around staring at our phones all the time, right? It's not good for our backs. So yeah, I am attempting to get back in the flow today, guys. Back in the flow. We're so close to done with a couple of models now. So these are the two colors I've got mixed up. And then I'm gonna need one really almost white. You can see these little dots out on her arm here, the very pale ones. I want something that is that pale so that I can really bring up the lighter and brighter areas. And I probably actually need to bring in a little more white into our little glowing fungal beds here too, to really push that glow effect. Yeah. There's a book I go to. Actually, Erin Lovejoy recommended it for me. It's called Pain Free, and it's by Pete Ogoscu. It's a weird spelling, but if you look up Pain Free book, you should get it. His mom used it to get essentially end her carpal tunnel before surgery. Like she didn't want to do surgery, so she tried the book, and the book worked. Essentially, it's just based on the idea that like there's a lot of skeletal muscular imbalance in us because our core muscles are weak and we do a lot of weird stuff. Like we're sitting here hunched over our computers all day, which is not good for us. So he just essentially gives you kind of a combination of physical therapy and yoga exercises to help straighten you out. And it really works. It really does work, I have to say. Ever since Erin gave me that, I've sworn by it. So the book is called Pain Free. So if you have like chronic pain, it may help you. All right, I'm going to mix up this last color and then we're going to rock it. Yeah, you have a special situation for sure, Carnico, unfortunately, right? A little bit of realignment exercises are not going to fix it. Hang in there. Morning, Daffodwear. But yeah, mine is definitely like shoulder, arm, but I managed to make it like go away by doing some exercises this morning. So I know that it's not actually screwed up. Like it's a little sore from the wave that pounded me, but I know it's not this bad. I know it's just that I sit here on a computer all day and I do all this and that. And over the weekend, I was doing a lot of wrestling large dogs and generally abusing myself. I think virtual hugs are all good. That's just me, though. Alrighty, I just want this very light, very light. Like right now, this is actually a pretty nice triad. And it's unlike any other triad we have, actually, because I've mixed that Nightmare Black in with that Cyan Blue. So I've created a blue triad here, but I actually want this one to go a little bit lighter. Let's see here. I think I want one drop. Of course you're special. There should have been no doubt about that. All right. There we are. So yeah, I should be back on a regular schedule this week, including doing my stream on Thursday on my own channel, which is twitch.tv/paintingbig. We'll probably work on Noel, but you know, who knows? I actually started Dragonborn Morlock on vacation, so we may work on him. I don't know. Thank you, Quindy, for the shout out on my Twitch. Yeah, if you guys haven't followed me over there, go on, give me a follow. I appreciate all of them. All right, let's see. What brush do I want to play with today? I've been lately unlimbering the Da Vinci's more. Although she is large, but I'm working on a small area. So given that, I think I'm going to reach for my Da Vinci Maestro Series 10 size 1. Back to there. Oh, Olfin, enough. Come on. All positive. Positive self-talk, please. Even if you don't believe it. Positive self-talk. Gotta believe in yourself. Nobody else is going to believe in you the way you can believe in you. Firmly believe that. All right, so I think I'm pretty good. I guess I might as well mix up some pure white. I'm going to scooch up also so that I can keep proper posture. Of course, a lot of us have crappy posture, and I am no exception. But if I make myself scoot right up to the table, then at least I'm motivated to keep a straight back. Shoulders back. So hypothetically, it won't be quite as bad. Alrighty. I'm going to knock things over because it's the way I roll. So what have you guys been doing with yourselves over the last 2 weeks? Anything fun? Anything interesting? I know it got cold here all of a sudden when I came back. Suddenly it's cold. I don't like this new colder California. I would like to go back to, just going to block in a couple of these little guys. Want just practice bringing in some highlights here, see if my paint's a good consistency for what I'm going to do. And I think it is. Some of these mushrooms have details that I pretty much just blocked over, so now that I have a lighter blue, I can come back and touch those in. Just a little bit goes a long way. Texas State Fair, cool. You gotta rock. Hello, Dogfather. Thank you for the 21-month resub. Awesome. Super fantastic. There we go. Just want to touch up and bring up some of these little details. Give them just a little bit more intricacy. It looked perfectly okay before, but when you add like a level of highlights, everything can jump out just a little bit more, pop out just a little bit more. You don't even have to blend them really. You could even just put dots, like create a pattern. Because it's a mushroom, so you can. You don't have to blend if you don't want to. And that's the great thing about fantasy models, right? Is like, you can go for realism if you want to, but you don't have to. You can go for stylized, as long as you're consistent about it. Like, don't go realism on one part of the mini and then go super stylized on another. It doesn't really carry that way. So like chibis tend to be very stylized. But if you're going to go realistic on one part of the chibi, try to carry that over onto other parts. And if you're going to go super cartoony with one part, make sure the rest of it matches up. There we go. Sweet. Excellent. I think I'm good. Oh no. Oh, Kuranika. Oh no. Oh, October in Utah. Yeah. That's a lot of snow. Yikes. Making a storage organizational box for your Kickstarter minis. That's really cool, Jetta Rose. I like that. I need to go through this office. Like now, finally, we're really getting the whole house put together. Like, everything is starting to be where it needs to be. And so, all right, let's talk a little bit about... So essentially, we're finally getting there. But my office just had a bunch of boxes stuffed in it when we were moving, and so I'm going to go and hit it. So what we're going to do here is I want to generally highlight all of the different little vines going across her hand. And then I go back in with a light color. So you're essentially creating a highlight with your medium blue, the one I've got on my brush. And then you take your lighter blue and create the pattern of dots inside of that highlight. So it's almost like you're layering and making each highlight a little smaller than the next. But in this case, your smaller highlight is also a pattern. So it's almost freehand, but it's a lot easier because you're just making lines of dots. Almost anybody can do that. Yeah, I need to just rip open all my boxes, get all my paint out, or like org it as much as I can. So I'm going to go through all these vines here. You're going to see me kind of use the side of my brush because I just want to hit the tops. This is like painting hair. If you don't have to hit every little vine with the tip of your brush. If you just use the side, if the texture is sculpted in good relief, then your paint will adhere. So like if I run my brush, the side of my brush down here, it's going to go onto her fingers and the vines where they stick out without a lot of effort on my part. And that's the easy way to paint hair as well. And as you can see, it was super fast. I'm going to do a couple of touch-ups because that's me. But overall, that's just a good tactic for hitting a lot of vines or strands that are sculpted in relief, where it's coming out. And you don't have to have fine motor coordination then to hit what you need to hit. But yeah, I need to figure out... Oh, this one, that's right. This model gets replaced by the bust, the Reapercon bust. I can't wait to do that. Ms. Pirate. And then I've got my Darius the Blue queued up for after Lizette for the Bones USA. And we finished Half Orc. She's officially in a case in my my living room now. She's been allowed to be in one of the public cases. And so we've got our Tiefling Warlock to do after that. We just started our Ogre to replace our Wyvern. Yeah, the only model I haven't figured out a new model for yet is Crimson Herald. So I need to figure that out by the time we start, because I think he's almost like he's pretty much done. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's like the ice apocalypses we used to get in Texas, where we come in and totally shock all the vegetation. And like, yeah, I lost so many little bonsai trees to freak like temperature drops of 30 degrees in like a day, just because the little bonsais can't handle it. Kind of an intermediate color here. That was a little bright. So for your first row of dots, you want to go, I guess, a little bit. I need a kind of an intermediate color, but I'll just mix it as I go. Don't want to go too bright yet, because we'll take some of these dots and go over them with the very, very light blue that I mixed. But these little dots are just to kind of imply energy coursing along the fungal gloves that her hands are. Yeah, we don't get snow in Dallas. We get 2 weeks of ice. Sometimes we get a day or even 2 of snow, although there hadn't been for a while. Kiri got a snow. We had a very light snow the last year I wasn't there. Yeah, here if our new puppy wants to see snow, I'm gonna have to drive up into the mountains. Yeah, I'm already feeling cold. I'm like, oh no, winter is coming. Oh noes. Especially because I was just in, Indianapolis area, and it was 84. Like, 84 in October in the Midwest. Like, truly, climate change is, like, coming, guys. That's just, like, it's not a thing. All the trees were still green. It was really weird. I mean, as somebody who grew up in Wisconsin, and yes, given Indiana is slightly lower, and so it is slightly warmer. But still, like, that's just kind of crazy. Even the people from Indiana were like, yeah, this is nuts. And the dogs were like, please give us AC, please. Got a little bit too dark with my dots there. You want to be able to see them. I'm kind of creating like spot mixes. You can kind of see it there, kind of halfway between these guys. Honestly, probably your closest colors here would be like the original blues triad, Sapphire, True, and Sky. If you were creating a triad between those two lighter blues that I made. That would be close. Wouldn't be quite the same as the one I mixed. Maybe close. Yeah, that's crazy, Dogfather. 84, Chibi, yeah. It was 84 one day. We had like 75, 78, and then 84. Seriously, like none of the trees had changed yet, so it must have been like it wasn't just the freak thing for that weekend. It was really weird. Yeah, 40s and 50s are too cold for me now. I get so accustomed. Even in Texas, I didn't like the winter. Spring was my favorite. I think here, though, we'll see. We'll see how I do like the weather here. Once it warms up in the morning, we could hit 70, which is kind of like Arizona, and I like the Arizona climate a lot, so in the winter. There we go. We got those dots coming out. Not quite as heavy out here. And I need to look and see if there are any like recessed areas that I can put like kind of a little power source like I did here. And I think I see one right here. So I'm going to actually take my light blue and paint in that area. It's surrounded by more tissue, more fungal tissue. And I'm going to put some dots around it. Because we've got dots around that one. So that we can have kind of, similar takes on it. Yeah, I really like Arizona. Still in the 90s there on some days. Wow, War Shadow. Yeah, I like Arizona a lot. I usually drive down to see my parents because they winter in Arizona. Usually drive down to see them in January or February. Really love how nice and warm it is during the day, and then how it gets cold once it gets dark, but you get a really nice daytime temp. All right, I'm going to take my lighter blue now, and I'm going to bring in another set of dots all around this glowing part. I'm mostly going to concentrate on the dots I already put down, but I'm going to concentrate toward the middle of each like strand of fungus. So like since I put several dots here and there, I want to imply that the center or thickest part of each strand is glowing a little more. And then we need to do the freehand on her arms with that fungal pattern. So let me refocus. There we go. Yeah, the summers would kill you, I'm sure. The summers would probably kill even me, and I love heat. We walk outside in Hawaii And on the west side, it's actually quite arid. And it would get up to 90. It was getting up to 88, 90 in Hawaii while we were there. And I would walk outside and go, what a glorious day in the morning. And David would walk outside and say, it's so hot. Just reaffirms my silent conviction that if we ever like choose a state to retire to, we probably should retire to Hawaii. If we decide we'd don't want to retire here in California. Not that I'm ever going to retire, because geez, I'm freelancing. I'm doing all the things that I most want to do. So it's like, when you love your work, then retiring is optional, right? Like, other than my arms falling off, I can't see any reason that I would stop painting and, you know, teaching you guys. So, let's just hope my arms don't fall off, okay? Oh, the humidity. Yeah, because Austin is closer down to Houston, and so you guys do get a little bit higher. I know even in Dallas area, though, like, I remember when I first moved there, and the humidity was not as high. I could swear that we'd been getting a higher humidity in recent years than I remember from when I first moved to Texas. And you know, memory being imperfect. I could be wrong on that, but it just feels more. All right, so I've got some very, very like tight dots on this one, and some of my dots over here aren't nearly as tight. So I'm actually going to bring that, and that happens, guys. Like, it happens from when you paint the front of the mini and then you go around to the back, and it can also happen like this when you paint one area and then you're working on other stuff and you decide to go back and do the other one, and it's just a little bit different. So I'm going to bring in more of my light blue over here and make the dots over here a little more defined, just like they are on the other arm. Need to get enough paint in my brush. When you're doing little tiny freehand, which these little dots essentially are, you want to make sure you have enough paint in your brush so that it's going to stay wet for a while, but then you have to dab it all off so that you can make those little dots. So loading and unloading your brush when you're trying to find detail, very, very important. Probably the most important thing. Right, you just did things early in the day or later, right? Yeah, I think Arizona is actually a beautiful state. I really like it. Back when I was first contemplating, there was a while after my divorce, I contemplated moving, and I thought about Arizona very hard because I liked a lot about Arizona. And hey, Bob and Julie are there. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, low 70s are pretty good. That's what it's been here during the day, is around 70. It's good walking weather. I actually forgot to do some of these fingers. So we're going back and just hitting those now. Then we will intensify some of our dots here. And then we'll do our freehand patterning like I did on the arm here. We'll do that over there. And your dots don't have to be perfectly equidistant. This is a living being, so irregularity is totally permitted. Whenever you're working on something that's organic and you're trying to do patterns, a little bit of irregularity is expected. So don't be too hard on yourself if you can't get everything perfect. If you're working on a cyborg or something metallic, that's going to be a different story, right? Like where that, it's probably a little bit more orderly on the metallic parts because you want to emphasize the difference between the metallic or inorganic parts and the organic parts for the cyborg. So generally, machine parts should be more precise. Inorganic parts, not as much. I was just looking at a cool cyborg model yesterday from Ouroboros, I believe. It's a bust. It was pretty cool. All right, so we got a little bit more. Now I'm going to bring in one more little highlight, a little bit brighter on some of these little dots. And then we will move on to the patterning. There we go. There we are. I like that. All right, now let's do these cool little organic spot patterns that we've been repeating up here around her cap. I also need to just like choose an eye color for her. So I'm actually going to block them in white. The answer is probably a bright blue. And I'm not going to put... I want her to be inhuman because she definitely looks inhuman. And so I'm going to keep the eyes a solid color. If you want to add to inhumanity or emphasize that this is kind of like a different being, like magical beings work especially well this way, you can keep the eyes just a solid color with like highlighting, kind of like gemstones almost. The minute you add a pupil, you're bringing more humanity in because you're making the eyes more human. And at that point, you can manipulate. And also, of course, if with an animal's eyes or something that doesn't look humanoid, you're going to be implying a certain type of animal depending on the type of eye you put on it. Hey there, Lady Nim. Cool. Yeah, we're getting real close on Mushroom Girl. Close to done, and then we can do a bust. A Reaper bust. I'm gonna be so excited. Get those eyes. I'm gonna put kind of a light inside of them. So I'm gonna go lighter toward the center. Can't really do a glow effect because they're so heavily in shadow, but pick up some light in there. Going simple with this model. Very interested to see Christine's resculpt. Maybe we'll paint the resculpt also, because I've heard she's working on a resculpt. All right, now we need to do those spots. Spots. So these are just interlocking spots, and they're similar to like the spots you would see on a giraffe. So the key here, guys, is when you say you've got a tendril like that. If you're doing a spot pattern like this, you essentially want to start somewhere. And if you are on an animal, maybe you start at the point of the shoulder or where a bone intersects with muscles or something like that. Find an area. Here I started along the curve of this tendril right here. Once you've got that curve, make kind of a boxy, 5 or 6 sided or 4-sided shape. And continue building them together. And as you move out, if you want this fade effect, make them smaller. And you definitely don't want them regular shaped. You want irregular. But a lot of animals, if you look at like leopards, for example, a lot of animals that have irregularly shaped spots, you can see they're still like working, they're still going in patterns. So make these go smaller as they get out. And then maybe you just go to a couple of dots. So you get kind of that fading out effect. And that's exactly what we're doing here. Mostly I'm keeping these spots like just like 1 or 2 layers deep along the tendrils. And once they get back toward the arm, they're fading out. I'm going to add a little more water to my blue, my dark blue. I may need one more drop of Nightmare as well. We'll see. I'm going to block in one of these and see if it's dark enough, as dark as the other ones. I think I probably need another drop of Nightmare Blue. Oh, actually, yeah. A lot of my friends got caught, Turgeon, coming back from the dog show. Part of it was weather. Like, there were tornadoes. There was all sorts of... There was the airline regulation thing that shut down a ton of flights, like hundreds. I think 800 to 1,000 and 1,100, wasn't it? That were canceled because of lack of personnel, because of the mandate. And then there was also, like, in the Midwest, there were tornadoes and crap. Like, out in the, like, more westerly of us. So, like, my friend who was flying back to OKC, like, got diverted twice and ended up getting in at, like, 2 a.m. So, yeah, it was pretty ugly, but I was actually connecting in Phoenix. So I went south, and I was on American. So it was fine for me. All right. Yeah, I think that's going to be too... Yeah, not dark enough. So just blocking in a little shape there, I can see it's not dark enough. So I want to grab my Nightmare Black, add a drop. But yeah, overall my flights were pretty good this weekend. I got to judge my first dog show, guys. It's like I've been in this breed since 2007, and I started as a breeder in training in 2010 and started, you know, we were already showing, started running shows for our chapter, and then finally this year we had a judge cancel at the last minute because she fell down and broke her leg. So Maya's like, can you judge? So I got to judge a dog show. It was really fun. It's funny because anybody who has talked to me and gotten a critique of their miniature would have totally recognized critiquing Anne, except I was critiquing dogs instead of miniatures. So it's really funny. In the back of my head, I'm just like, and more layering here. Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah. But it was fun. It was really fun because, like, AKC is so kind of stuck up. Like, you know, you can tell everybody's in suits and freaking evening gowns. And it's like, at our shows, we have so many people who have never showed a dog before. So we like to make it more informal and casual. And we like to, like, you know, help people to learn. So it was really fun to be a judge in that environment. Because I could relax, you know, I talk to people and get them to relax and help them with their dogs and tell them what I really liked about their dogs. So it was really cool. I had fun. I would do it again. Yeah, no, Territon. This was a show that's only for Shiloh Shepherds. It's our national, so we do one big show a year. But like I said, a lot of the people who are showing, like, they've been convinced to show by their breeder and they've never done it before. And so they're really nervous. And then their dog picks up on that and starts being a kangaroo. But yeah, no, it was really fun to be able to talk to them. And a lot of times I also work in our breed as a breed warden. So we're actually assessing every breeding that happens in our breed gets run by us, the wardens. And we look at it with regard to, like, the gene pool and what lines we need and what genetic diseases, risks are behind it and all that kind of thing. So it was cool to be able to tell people, like, hey, you know, that you've got this fault, but if you just breed to a male that's better for it, that would help you, you know, stuff like that. It was cool. It was really cool. Most judges don't take that time. Dog show judges are usually on such a tight schedule that they it's just like Westminster when you watch it, or the National Dog Show, where the judge takes all of, like, you know, the 15 seconds to look over the dog and then they move it and then they're done. Like, I really like the more involved, like giving critiques and stuff. I would never be an AKC judge, I think. There we go. We got some nice stuff. I've seen your paperwork. No, I did not. Okay, thanks, Twistedoma. Good luck. Jairus, it's true, but only if your breed description calls for that. Our breed standard, we made an effort to, because we split from the old organization, we had to create a new standard, which pretty much says a lot of the same stuff as other Shiloh standards, except that we made an effort to say everything in moderation, so there was no extremes, because the Shiloh is not supposed to be an extreme anything. So we still have, traits that we'd like to see. We'd like to see triangular ears, and we'd like to see good bone and solid structure. But a lot of our structure is very, aiming for healthy, just like you say. Like I said, there's a reason I'm part of this breed and have been for over a decade. I really feel like they're doing it right. I really feel like we are doing it right. When I was a kid, I showed in AKC. I did junior handling, and I went to dog shows with some breeder friends. And yeah, I experienced like genetic disorders in our family dogs. So I know exactly where you're coming from. Woo, all right. Yeah, later. Oh, Crow's Nest is on. Oh, neat. Dave Baker's going to be on. Okay, you guys, you all have to go on Crow's Nest this afternoon. David Baker from Trenchworks is who made our Audrey machine at Reaper in the paint department. He is so cool. He is super fun. Like, show up for Crow's Nest, seriously, Dave, and tell him I sent you. Yeah, I have many passions in this world. Painting is one of them, and dogs is one, and writing is one. And those are my 3 worlds, and I think 3 worlds are about enough. I think I don't need any more than 3 worlds. All right, there we go, guys. Spots. Spots and spots. I'm going to go and kind of look at it. See? Do I like it? Yeah. I think we're looking pretty good. Ha ha ha, Chibi. Yeah, he's the one that makes me stop working every night. Like, sit down, play a game or something. I am going to grab some of my lighter blue and do what I did over here, where I brought out some of these darker blue areas and make them stand out a little bit better. So first thing I'm going to do is actually introduce a bit more of my dark blue to make sure there's a definition. So this is the part of the model that I most enjoy, is when everything is blocked in and I'm adding the touches and the little details and just tightening things here and there and making this stand out a little more and that stand out a little more. Like, this is the fun part for me, where I'm approaching like the end of the project and I'm just like tweaking it with only a little bit to actually finish. I like that. Yeah, you guys, Jairus, I gotta say, the Netherlands does a great job. We have a Netherlands chapter of Shiloh Shepherds, and you guys have great rules. Like, I wish that the USA had as many great rules around dog breeding as you do. You guys, and you're pros at the genetics side, like the genetic diversity side, like super awesome. So yeah, Netherlands does it right with animal breeding. Absolutely you do. That's really good too, that they're working on the smushed in faces problem. It's just, I mean, it's very challenging to change the culture, but you guys in Europe are way ahead, I think, of this side of the ocean. We do breed outcross, so we are introducing breeds other than Shilohs and German Shepherds to get more genetic diversity. And you guys are so far ahead of us. I mean, one of the dogs we've used and one of the dogs we're considering using are both products of Netherlands outcrossing programs. Because you are a very conscientious culture about it. I really appreciate it. Yeah, genetics is my secret love, actually. I love genetics. It's so fascinating. Nice. That's great. Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about, except we're doing it at breed wide. So it's not just, one of our breeders. It's we actually are coordinating it and making an effort to spread the genes and to breed, we're breeding back into Shilohs now from our first outcross. It's very exciting. It's really exciting. I think it really has to be the future, the healthy future for dog breeds. But it's hard to convince AKC breeders over here. And that's an understatement. There we go. So now we got a nice blue rim. So you guys can see, I'm just using this color right here. And just, it's already thinned, so I'm just painting it over the white. And it naturally highlights itself. It naturally gets, the blue is brought out by the white underpainting. So blocking in a lot of this stuff is going to go very, very fast. We probably will be done with this model by the end of the day. Yeah, as long as he's not adding wolf in. The problem with a lot of those off-shepherd breeds crows is you got to watch it, as a lot of them are breeding wolf dogs. And a lot of them are lying about it. But the problem with that is that then those are illegal in many states and often too hard for people to handle. So yeah, but yeah, if it's definitely taking hold in the culture now, trying to crossbreed for better health. It's just hard to make a real difference when you're just one person. I mean, that's what our breeder, Tina, our breed founder, the Shiloh Shepherd breed founder, Tina, when she split from German Shepherds, she wanted to recreate a bigger, calmer, more family-friendly, healthier shepherd. But it took her 30 years, and she died in 2011, so it took her 30 years of work just on the Shiloh. And she needed a lot of people to help her. So it's definitely challenging. A lot of those breeders who are working kind of on their own, they have their hearts really in the right place. The only exception to that is, sometimes you will get disreputable people who are trying to just make a buck, right, on a new designer breed. Humans, it's what we do. There we go. So glazing over that now, and you can kind of see how that's coming up. Yeah. I just wondered because of the lichen, Lycan, isn't that like a root? I guess I'm just like lycanthrope, right? It's the root of that. No, I'll look them up. I'm interested now. I like to kind of look up kind of the German Shepherd kind of outcross breeds, because of course I love shepherds. And if a program is well done and they're collecting health data, it might be an option for outcrossing into Shilohs. So I've looked into, that's how I know there's a lot of people introducing wolf, like the Blue Bay Shepherds and the Alaskan Noble Companion dog, and there's one other one, but they all kind of lied, and then there were DNA. Then when DNA tests became popular, they found that the dogs were 30% wolf. Not so good. And people were wondering why they had such temperament problems and all that. But yeah, I like, in general, I mean, I think the day of the purebred, like we need a different definition for purebred these days. It has to allow for periodically crossing fresh genes in. So you can get back to breed type in 3 generations. But much healthier, hypothetically. There we go. So we got that blue really coming out there. You can see the white underneath it. You can see the edges where the white was strong. The blue is lighter. And all I did was apply one color of blue. So that's the beauty of this undercoating thing, is that it really does a lot of the work for you. And then if I want to, I can come in with deeper blues to shade closer to the cap. I can come in with lighter blues to add extra details to the outside in a more precise manner. But this enables me to move very fast indeed on getting this cap finished. Oh, Thorn. I've named a puppy Thorn before. He was my worst dog. I won't tell her. I won't tell her. Thorn was a devil. Like, that dog was a demon. But I learned a lot. I learned a lot raising him. So hopefully Maury will have a better... I'll have to go look up. Does she have pictures on Facebook? Because, you know, I stalk shepherd puppies. For sure. There we go. I'm just going to put another layer on here because I want it just a little more solid. But yeah, it was really nice to see shepherd puppies and really, really nice temperaments coming out of Kiri's line. So that makes me really happy. The little puppy that I put the picture up of, she reminded me so much of her grandpa Baxter, who was Kiri's son. He had that same kind of people-pleasing attitude. That is just such a wonderful temperament. So I'm very happy and proud of my Kiri dog and her progeny. There we go. Got some of that blocked in, a little bit stronger there. There we are. So let's go down and I think we can hit this. I think we can... What was that? How was the undercoating? Oh, just dry brushed. It is dry brushed. Yeah, this is actually me using dry brush because this is one of the few times, and I never, ever dry brush usually, Jairus, because I don't want that texture, that scratchy texture. But here, because it was organic, it's an organic surface, and so texture is actually cool and welcome. I knew also that I'd be painting over it, so a lot of the texture would be minimized, and I could choose to keep only what I wanted. And because it was a large, broad surface with very strongly sculpted texture already, as far as the crackle, I knew that it would work really well to do it. So yeah, we dry brushed it, absolutely. And like I said, normally I don't. On many things, I feel I do not want the texture. I would rather control the texture. And a lot of things I find it's not really suitable for unless you have a certain level of sculpted texture. But here I feel it worked really, really well. And it saved me time. Like, that was so fast, like when I came in and dry brushed underneath this. And this coral color, part of the reason I did the underpainting, was that I knew that this coral color, this is actually Lotus Orange from the Kickstarter, the Bones 5 Kickstarter, plus a little bit of yellow mixed in to go up to this more orangey, less coral effect. So I knew that these colors were very transparent and that they would thus be perfect to go over underpainting, because transparency becomes a virtue when you underpaint. And I do a lot of underpainting. A lot. Textures. And whenever I want something to stand out, I'm going to be doing underpainting first. Whether I want it to be dark, in which case I'm going to be underpainting with a very dark color. Or more often what I do is, since I tend to start darker and work up, underpainting with white. And then bringing in my strong colors. Instead of having to fight to build up a bright blue like this over this dark black cherry kind of coat, I can just easily put a single layer on and I've got the color I want. And I did less dry brushing or minimized dry brushing here because it's in shadow with the way that it crinkles. So I did try to focus my dry brushing on areas that were raised toward the light, like up here, that were going to catch the light. Sweet. Yeah, I think it turned out really well. I'm glad you like it. we'll get this in here. I don't mind if some of my blue goes a little closer into the cap and others have more of a fade. I can also bring in my coral again if I want to bring in more of a fade. I can just add some white along the inner parts of some of this and bring that coral back in. But right now I want to get all my blue blocked in, so I'm not going to worry about that this instant. We're going to try to block this all, and then we'll do little adjustments. And maybe that'll be the end of like the next stream that we do this model. Maybe we'll work on like fine tuning those little bits while I prep and get ready to do the bust with you guys. Very excited to do the Reapercon bust with you guys. And it'll be, of course, a lot of it is going to be appropriate to a lot of different busts. So it's going to be an introduction to bust painting using a Reaper bust, which I've wanted to do for a while. And since everybody was really excited about the pirate bust from Reapercon, I thought that would be a good one to start with. Wherever I need a dark shadow, I'm just really going to kind of put a dark blue in there for now. I can come back in with the black cherry. I think I am going to stand up and stretch real quick just because my shoulder needs a little bit of a stretch here. But I'm going to get this panel done first. We should have enough time. Because this is going so fast, I think we will have some time to bring the white in and bring the coral back in a little bit in some of these areas where I'm just like having a sharp demarcation between the two instead of kind of the cool faded effect that I did here. So we'll do a bit of that fade. It's really easy. Super, super easy. It looks awesome. It looks like you did a ton of work, but you didn't. And that's the great thing about like underpainting is that it looks like you spent a lot more time blending than you did. It's a trick. It's one of those tricks that can save you a lot of time on a big model like this. Individually trying to texture everything very slowly would be difficult. But this is much quicker and still looks good. And then if you want to, you can make it like that's where, once you've got it all blocked in, that's where you can spend the time to make it cool and go and touch up a lot of individual little crackly bits, right? Maybe introduce some patterns or some different, kind of stippling on them, but it's nice to have the whole thing kind of at a good level before you dive in and try to make it better. Or more detailed. Yeah, it is a really cool bust. And it's got a lot of different surfaces. A lot of different things on it. Different cloth and probably some leather, maybe some gold braid epaulettes and stuff like that. And I get to talk about textures and the level of detail on a bust as opposed to a 28mm or even a big 28mm. It's a different scale. You could certainly paint a giant or like the Fungal Queen here as if it were a bigger scale. Like you could paint her as if she is human-sized, but instead she's a 75mm. Like you could do that. She has enough room. It would involve doing a lot more. You could do more textures on her. A lot of people don't transition it that way, but you definitely can. Like you paint a 28mm differently than you do a like 75. You have more room. Although it's not like a bust is really when you're at 1/6 scale. That's or 1/10. That's where you really start going in more realistically on textures. 75mm is still fairly small. There we go. Getting our blue mocked in. We only have a little bit left, and then I probably want to darken this area. You live. Yay, Rax. It's good. It's good that you live. I also live after all this travel. I'm so happy I'm going to be home till the holidays. On the the day after Christmas, we leave for a family vacation with my family for just a few days. Kind of the last gasp family vacation before Lauren goes off to college, before my niece goes off to college. But other than that, I have a nice 2.5 months to recover my oomph. I've discovered that there is definitely a thing as too much travel, and I definitely achieved it these last 2 weeks. Even with as wonderful and relaxing and fun as Hawaii was, following it up so closely with another trip was not ideal. There we go, and we're getting there. Actually, your reappearance reminds me, Rax. Let's, why don't we work on a slime kitty on my stream this Thursday? Rax's kid designed the slime kitty. I think I've shared the slime kitty with you guys. Designed by Rex's child, Rex's progeny. We'll try to put some translucent colors on the kitty and see how it works. What are those printed in, Rex? The slime kitties. Like, what material is it? Yeah, slime kitty. You guys always want to have questions about painting transparent models, so we'll do slime kitty. And that'll be at, I usually start around 4 p.m. USA Central Time on twitch.tv/paintingbig. Also, for those of you who don't know, I have a Patreon, patreon.com/paintingbig, wherein I do awesome tutorials. In fact, this month, everybody gets PDFs because I've noticed that people seem to have a little bit more time for reading the PDFs than for watching the videos. So I thought I would do PDFs for everybody this month. And I just, before I went on my trip, I finished one on painting ghosts and specters, which I actually really like. So go and try it out. And I've got some free stuff over there. Patreon.com/paintingbig. I've mentioned it before, but one of the free things is a handout for a class I did for ReaperCon online a couple of years, or a year, I guess a little more than a year ago, called Thinning MSP Paints, which you should watch if you use MSP. Yeah, my black cherry got really thin over here, so I really need to touch that up. Oh, there we go. Everybody wants Slime Kitty? Is that what I'm hearing? All right, cool. We'll do Slime Kitty this week. I'll take Slime Kitty down to remind myself. Thursday at Julia. It's always Thursdays. I used to do Tuesdays and Thursdays, but I needed more time for the Patreon, and so I decided to just change it to Thursdays only. I just do a slightly longer stream to help compensate. So I do a 2 to 4 or a 4 to 6. I do it up to Reaper Live. So go ahead and follow it and, leave it on while you're making dinner or whatever. There we go. All right. Yeah, I need to touch that up. I'm guessing that Urgathoa Red is going to be a good red for that. I want to just grab anything. I don't want to remix my black cherry right now. Yeah, I think Orgothoa is going to be really close, actually. It's a little warm, a little warmer than the black cherry, but I think it'll be close enough to touch up those little areas. Yeah, no problem, Julia. Oh, good, Karenika. I hope you liked it. Yeah, painting ghosts is, like, there's like, different little aspects to it. Like, I had to stop and think there are actually a lot of little things that I do to make something look spectral. So it was nice to actually break that down, and it was a topic I hadn't done before. It's a nice long PDF, too. It was 6 pages? Don't remember. Lots of pictures. Pictures of ghosties that I did before, and then a ghostie that I speed painted. This ghostie. I was just speed painting him the other day, as to use as an example. So he's super fast. Like, I painted that thing in maybe less than an hour. But I wanted to paint something new for the PDF and to kind of illustrated some points. And so, I'd use a slightly different color for my ghostie. Maybe it was an hour. I don't remember. It was definitely a speed paint. There we go. So that matches well enough with the black cherry. It's a little wet so you can see it still, but it's a good enough match that it's adequate for touch-ups. There. Now let's grab our white and put a, actually let's get up and stretch real quick. Hey, from Denmark, cool. We have a Netherlands person on here too. You just actually missed it. We painted kind of our little glowing dots on the Fungal Queen's gloves. And we're pretty much almost finished with this model. Right now, I want to make this coral color kind of fade into the blue like I did up here, instead of ending abruptly like it is over here. So, there you go, Prophecy. Quindy got you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint white over the blue a little bit and then come in with that corally pink color. I have to find it first. There it is. It's actually an orange. It's Lotus Orange. But because there was some blue and darker color left here, it makes it look much more purpley pink. There we go. Get it a little mix, and where's my, there. So I'm going to do a little bit of painting over what I've already done to create that blend. We're almost done, though. Oh, just that you're both European, Jairus. I get a lot of Australians and I get a lot of USA people, but only occasionally does and then Kerniko's from Scotland, but only occasionally do I notice a European pop up. So it's cool. I like getting people who watch from other areas of the world. That's the only thing I was saying. Keep in mind, I'm from a different country, so I'm like, you know, people being from other countries that are not the U.S. is, like, cool to me and different. I deal with Americans all day. You'll notice some of the same thing, though, if like, two people speak up that they're both from, like, the Midwest, but different states. They'll go, oh, yeah, I'm from blah, or my parents live in blah. Just something we weird Americans do. Yeah. No, that's what I like about my Dutch friends, my Dutch dog friends, Jairus, is that you guys are so blunt. Like, I never have to wonder where I stand with my Dutch friends. They will tell me. But I value bluntness, so I like people who are very straightforward. So I did a little bit of a white underpaint, and then I painted that coral color over the top so we can start to get that blend on. But yeah, I definitely... It's funny because, you know, I have some friend/acquaintances who are mini painters, you know, from other countries. Then I have dog friends from other countries. It feels like I actually have a lot of friends all over the world, which is funky. You know, growing up as a kid, I never thought I would necessarily have friends in other countries. But the internet is so awesome that way. There, so a little bit of underpainting just toward the middle here. And then a bit of that color picked up on my brush. Honesty rather than bluntness. That's true. That's true. Good note. I'll note to self. You're very straightforward. I'll put it that way. I like straightforward people. I am typically a very straightforward person. I am capable of tact. I just forget to engage it. There we go. So see how that helps create a little bit more of a blend. Head it up into these areas. This is still very dark and in shadow, so I don't want to bring it up too much. But I can bring it up a little bit more to match better with that. There we go. So now I want to do that with these guys. We're actually making excellent progress, and I totally forgot to stretch, but oh well. At this point, it's like 15 minutes, so I'm just gonna muscle through. Hopefully by tomorrow, judging from today, by tomorrow my shoulders should feel better. Won't have to worry about it. And tomorrow's gonna be Lizette. Hopefully we can get some really good progress on her remaining parts. I think we're going to be doing the NMM runes on that sword. Here, Lizette. So we need to do what we did back here on the sword. We need to do on the front. And we have some more gold NMM touch-ups also to do. So the NMM on the back didn't get done. We mostly finished our tree design. I feel like I want to make it just a little more solid around the roots, but it's almost finished. And we did our little leaf design on the front as well. So yeah, so that's some of the stuff that we're going to work on tomorrow on Lizette. But she's getting very close to done as well. Tact is appreciated sometimes. It's like, I think you're right, actually, Jairus. It's honesty that you appreciate, right? People not being all passive aggressive, just being honest with what they think, and other people like have to learn not to take offense at that, right? So it's challenging depending on what culture you're in. So getting the edges here of these that are more toward the middle. This is where I'm kind of accentuating a little bit of that underlying dry brushing to create the illusion of these guys sticking out a little bit more and catching the light. And also creating a substrate for the blending in of that coral color here. So they're very heavily accentuated some of the light areas. And if you go too light when you're adjusting stuff like this, I mean, remember, you can always just glaze your dark blue over the top and take it down again. You can always adjust anything. That's the great thing about acrylics, because they have coverage. Even when they're thinned, they have a bit of coverage, so you can always tune anything you do, actually fairly easily. Once you master, or even just learn, you know, to get relatively decent at paint consistency, you need to get your skills on with glazes. Glazes are really useful in adjusting small things like this. There. Brought more of my red in. Let's grab our coral color and glaze it across here. So I mentioned it's kind of it's a beautiful color, but it's pretty translucent. And when you're underpainting, that completely works for you. There we go. Now we've got more of that coral color coming in. I'm going to introduce a little bit of it here. There we go. Sweet. A little bit more up here. I like that, actually. It takes down, glazing that coral color, or just brushing it lightly, a thinned layer of it over the top of the blue. Takes the blue down a little bit. Just a tiny bit. Essentially there we're spot glazing. So we get our fade going on there, and we just need to tackle this area over here. So yeah, I can see maybe, I don't know. This might be, I've only got like 10 minutes left. Don't know if I'm going to get, I kind of want to put a little more attention into some of the back parts here. So I think we'll have one more stream with her before we start on the bust. But as you know, for those of you who are new to the stream, we do a different model every day, and we have a 6 model rotation. So we loop back around to minis, but it means it takes quite a long time. I mean, just looking at, you know, as the months pass, it can take quite a long time to get finished with a mini. So like the next time we work on her, it's going to be 6 days from now. So it'll be next Wednesday, but we will likely finish her then. Just want to add all the finishing touches, correct any parts that I really feel are not working, if there are any. Doing just some very rough underpainting here with the white. There we go. For this model, the bust is next. The bust replaces this model. For the model tomorrow, it is Lizette. And I also need to find a new model to replace Crimson Herald with. Technically, he's a bad guy, so I need to find another villain to paint, which I may have somewhere. Technically, I guess our Tiefling could be there, but then I'd have to replace Half-Orc with something else. We may have to do that if I don't have a villain and have to order one. kind of like to do different stuff these days. Kind of as we've progressed with this show, I like have a monster slot, and that's where, you know, Ogre is right now. And I have a big model slot, which is where this is and where the bust will be. So you can see the white looks like it's fading out into the surrounding blue, and that's your clue that this will actually work once you paint your color over the top of it. If the white looks convincingly like it's fading. I don't know if I've seen the Raccoon Ranger. If it's Bones 5, I don't have it. I ordered very little from Bones 5. Oh yeah, and our Golem is also a monster slot, technically. So I've got a couple of monster slots right now. We have a Bones USA slot. We have 2 monster slots. We have a big model slot. We have player character slot, which is right now is like the Tiefling coming up. And was the Half Orc Wizard too. Technically, so is the Bones USA slot. So a couple of character slots, a couple monster slots, a big model slot. And a villain slot. Because villains and monsters can be very different, right? Depending on scale, so. Oh, Bones 5 fan favorites. Yeah, I didn't do that. There are very few Bones that I actually, very few Bones 5s that I actually ordered because I was trying to cut down on my miniatures glut. So we'll have to wait till it's out in production. I don't mind painting one. It's always cool to take different animals. Like doing Grumpy Cat was fun because then we got to do cat patterns, right? So I would do another Tabaxi. I would do another Cat Folk. Do a different pattern on there instead of the tabby. So now we're adding in that coral and we're making it fade out away from the center. And since I'm using it pretty thinned, if I put another layer on, it will get more intense in color over that white. So wherever you want it intense, put on another layer. And if you add it over something and you don't get the intensity, question whether you've really put white down or like a light blue. Some of these areas like really did look more like light blue than white, and so that'll mute the color a little bit when you go over the top. So you may have to go back and make sure it's white underpainting. Here we are. I've got too much blue here. Also, it's like, I don't want necessarily, if I'm going to fade out, I need to fade out until I'm starting to go part of the way. Just try to be consistent with what you're doing. There we go. I like that better. A little bit of that. There, got that kind of a blush of coral headed out that direction. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. There. Let's back out and look at it. Cool. There we go. We have more or less finished blocking in that cap. We finished our paws. We did the eyes. Everything else is looking pretty good. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, if I'm feeling like, you know, I've done what I wanted to on this figure, I kind of feel like I have. I may just decide to move on next week. I don't know. I feel like I need to tighten up some of this stuff, though. Like the coral down here, I think needs a little more work. And I could get a little bit more directional lighting on the back here. Some better highlights on the blue. So yeah, we'll probably do one more day of her. Probably. No big bets, but probably. And I do kind of want to feel like I need to lighten some of this to make it look white. So yeah. So what we did today is we did her other glove, her other glowing spore gauntlet. We touched up parts of this one that we hadn't quite finished, so now she's very consistent on the front of her outfit. We also went back here and we finished out all of the blue and kind of the fade into from the coral to the blue. So that's really nice to have that finished. So next time I think we'll just be touch-ups, just make it a little bit better. Kind of like if I was painting this for like a competition, maybe in a local game store, what things would I do to make it slightly better? So that'll be kind of what the next stream on this character will be, which will be next week, Tuesday, I believe. And so we'll go over all of that, essentially, is what we'll do. We'll talk about, okay, so what are the things that we would punch up to make this just a little bit more effective or a little bit better? You know, what areas would I pay attention to if I was doing that? So what I do is every weekday morning prophecy, I'm here on Reaper. So I do it at 9:30 a.m. Central Time to 11 a.m. Central Time. Pacific Time. It's 11:30 to 1 Central Time. Sorry, my brain. Time zones. I just got out of town. Got back from out of town. So yes, I'm sorry. 11:30 to 1 USA Central Time. It's 9:30 to 11 my time, Pacific Coast. But I do that every weekday, and then on Thursdays I do my own channel, and that is 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. It leads up to Reaper Live. And we do a whole bunch of things. This week we'll do Rax's cat slime, sorry. Not cat folk. I guess it is folk, or it used to be folk until it was eaten. I assume the slime ate it and turned into a cat. I don't know. I don't know how these things come to be. But on my stream we'll do the cat slime. But yeah, that's my schedule. Sorry, it was kind of discombobulated. I'm still recovering from 3 hours of jet lag. So I should be back tomorrow. My brain should actually be back in this time zone tomorrow. Yeah, I have a Twitch channel. It's twitch.tv/paintingbig, all one word. It's the same as my Patreon, patreon.com/paintingbig. Yeah, there we go. Quindy's got the link for you. Yeah, Kitty Slime. Yeah, we're going to work on it on Thursday. Rex. I'm thinking green and yellow and orange. We'll figure out what we can do. Yes, thanks everybody. And today, don't forget to show up for Crow's Nest, where David Baker from Trenchworks is going to be on. And as I plugged emphatically earlier, Dave is amazing. He's a fantastic guy. He's highly entertaining, totally nerdy, and a lot of fun. And he created the Audrey machine, actually both of the machines for the paint department. So he's super cool. He does resin casting too. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that they do at Trenchworks. So yeah, you totally need to show up for Crow's Nest and ask David Baker questions or say awesome things in chat. Because he really is a fantastic guy. I miss him. Not working in the paint department anymore. So, all right, we're going to raid Dices. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. And I will see you again tomorrow to work on Lizette. Thank you, everybody. I'm so happy to be back. Off we go. Bye.